All right, here are solutions to quiz 1 for Math 95. We're given this big mess of an expression, a couple of rational expressions, and asked to simplify as much as possible. All right, so what's kind of nice here is at least we have the same denominator. So adding and subtracting rational expressions with the same denominator, you kind of think about it like you're adding a fraction with the same denominator, in which case all you do is you add up the numerators. So in this case, since we're subtracting, we're going to subtract the numerators and have that difference all divided by our denominator, which we only have to write once. So we get to here. And then now if we simplify the numerator here, 3x minus x, well, let me show it out in steps. 3x plus 1, you can distribute this negative sign to make it minus x minus 2. I think that's where a lot of the mistakes are made. And then I'll just leave the denominator alone for now. And now we can combine like terms in the numerator. 3x minus x is 2x, and 1 minus 2 is negative 1. And in the denominator here, maybe I'll do this off to the side. We want to factor 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. This is a second degree polynomial with 3 terms whose leading coefficient is not 1. So these are the trickier ones. So step 1 is you need to find two numbers that multiply to negative 6 in this case, whatever 2 times negative 3 is. So multiply to negative 6 and add to positive 5, being the number in the middle here. So let's see, you think about that for a little while. One of them will have to be negative for it to multiply to a negative. So maybe positive 6 and negative 1. I think that satisfies both of these criteria. So then step 2, I won't always show this much work, but the first time it doesn't hurt, is replace the 5x in the middle here with 6x minus 1x, getting these numbers right here. So instead of 5x, we'll write 6x and negative 1x. So that gives us 2x squared plus 6x minus 1x minus 3. And now we have 4 terms in this polynomial, so we can factor by grouping. From these first 2 terms, there's a 2x in common. So from these first 2 terms, you can pull out a 2x, and what you're left with is x plus 3. And then from these next 2 terms, in order to be left with x plus 3, you'd have to pull out a negative 1. And now we have 2 terms, and they both have an x plus 3 in them. So you can factor out that x plus 3, and what you're left with is 2x minus 1. So all this work just to figure out what goes here, which I'll switch back to purple. We got x plus 3 times 2x minus 1. And what's kind of nice about the way that factored is this 2x minus 1 up top and this 2x minus 1 right here cancel each other out. And we're left with, as our final answer, 1 divided by x plus 3. All right, moving on to the second one, part B. Same idea. Here's a huge mess. Simplify it. Figure out what it's equal to. We have the same denominator again. So all we got to do is add the numerators. So 2x cubed plus 3x squared minus 8x minus 12. All I did was add this numerator and this numerator, and I'll put it all over my denominator of 2x squared plus 7x plus 6. And then we have to factor the numerator and the denominator. See, the numerator is actually a little bit easier, even though maybe it looks harder. 4 terms is easier to do than 3 terms. We can factor by grouping. These first 2 terms have an x squared in common. So maybe I'll do this separately. Let's do the top over here, and we'll do the bottom over here, just to kind of keep my work as neat as possible. So on the top, we can factor out an x squared, and you're left with 2x plus 3. And then from these second 2 terms, what do you have to factor out to be left with 2x plus 3? In this case, it's negative 4. And you're left with 2x plus 3. So now you have a 2x plus 3 in both of these, which you can factor out. And you're left with x squared minus 4. And be careful you're not done here. This one's factored as far as it can go, but x squared minus 4 is a difference of squares. So we can take this a step further. This problem was a little bit tricky having that extra step in there. X squared minus 4 is x plus 2 times x minus 2. So all this mess up top is 2x plus 3 times x plus 2 times x minus 2. Alright, now we try to factor the bottom over here. Same idea. We have, same as in part B, we have a third degree or a second degree polynomial with 3 terms. The leading coefficient is not a 1. So we need two numbers that, two numbers that multiply to 12 and add to 7. In this case, it's 3 and 4. So then we can replace 7x with 3x plus 4x. So 2x squared plus 3x plus 4x plus 6. And then in these first two terms, the greatest common factor is an x. Factor that out, you're left with 2x plus 3. To be left with 2x plus 3, we have to factor out a 2 from these second two terms. And now you factor out the 2x plus 3, and you're left with x plus 2. So the bottom here factors out as 2x plus 3 times x plus 2. And this works out kind of nice because these cancel out and these cancel out. And so our final answer, I don't know what color to use, guess I'll go with green, is x minus 2. So that's the solution, and that's the end of this first quiz.